Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Business from the Bass Boat Podcast on the Serious Angler Network, powered by X2. And guys, today, great show lined up. Got some interesting stuff. Gosh, it's ridiculous how busy, how fast things get busy this time of the year. But we're getting ready to make the long drive to California. When I say we, I'm talking about myself here. To make the long drive to California to fish the second Western Toyota Series. I got something going on with my headphones here. Okay, now I can hear myself. All right, so we are headed to California Delta to fish the first Toyota Series out there, and then the second one is shortly thereafter. Have the Bassmaster Classic in between that. Bailey and I will be there for that, but leaving the truck and boat out in California for about a month in between, which is first time I ever left a truck and a boat somewhere. So that's kind of cool. And hopefully everything goes all right with that. But it just doesn't make sense to drive from Colorado to California, back to California from that standpoint. But on today's show, we are going to break down something that I have always enjoyed in our industry, and being a tournament angler, watching just contingency programs and how they have become such a thing. We had a great show earlier this year with Todd Castledine on contingency programs and fishing locally. I mean, he's a big part of his career and income is based on contingency programs, which is pretty cool to break down what he has done with them. And there's a lot of nuances. And so I went down an absolute rabbit hole, and I mean absolute rabbit hole, of looking at all the different bass boat brands, major bass boat brands that you see in tournaments, breaking down their contingency programs, and kind of the thought process is to rank these, right? So this is definitely not going to be covered in one show. Once I realized how in depth some of this stuff is, but what I figured I would do is break these down and then maybe do a recap show of, hey, here's my thoughts on this. Here's the best contingency programs for these people, whatever, that kind of a thing. I will say, with all of this, do your own research when it comes to contingency programs. You need to be the person that decides this. And with that too, there's so many nuances on just brand loyalty and people liking certain boats and that kind of a thing. So it's not an end all be all by any means, but cool stuff between all of these. And to start, we are going to break down the Phoenix contingency programs. Why? Because that's the boat that I currently run. And that's a very, very common one when it comes to bonus bucks programs and that kind of a thing. The Phoenix has kind of led the pack when it comes to Major League Fishing stuff, and we're gonna basically get into that. But let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen for those of you on the podcast. Apologize. I will do my best to talk through exactly what we're looking at. But we are going to compare all of the options that Phoenix kind of has. So really what's unique about Phoenix compared to all these other contingency programs is that it basically has two contingency programs. So this is the first. So the first is, well, I shouldn't say the first. They have the Major League Fishing, which has been touted as some of the highest contingency programs, right? When you're talking, if you win a Toyota Series event or the Tackle Warehouse Invitational, there's an extra $35,000 bonus associated with anglers who win in those situations. So that is generally even included on Major League Fishing's website when there's a winner that is the Toyota Series. It's, $90,000 plus $35,000 contingency, or to Phoenix MLF bonus. So they have their first flight program, which is for any tournament organization that is listed there, like a traditional contingency program. It works kind of anywhere. And then they have the Phoenix MLF bonus. So the bonus, Major League Fishing bonus, is strictly for Major League Fishing, right? So this includes the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals, the Toyota Series, and the BFLs. And in my opinion, unless you have a great boat deal somewhere else that is, really, really good, and you're wanting to run a new boat, it is very hard to beat the Phoenix MLF bonus program if you are a BFL fisherman, a Toyota Series fisherman, or a Tackle Warehouse Invitationals fisherman. And this may sound obvious, but like when you really break this down, there's not really anything like it for those tiers of events. So first things first, the biggest thing of these contingency programs that I always kind of look at is like you think about how many people sign up for them, there's a cost associated with them. And I think that I should say there's generally a cost associated with them. There's some nuances there, but they have to have some sort of, I think, incentive to run these programs, right? Like it takes man hours, it takes time and money to run these programs, and clearly they're paying stuff out. And I think that they're offsetting some of that when it comes to boat sales, but it's only $20 to sign up for the MLF bonus. So this is a separate program from everything that I've read on the rules and everything from Phoenix First Flight program, which is for all their other tournaments. So this is only a $20 add-on. You can win up to $35,000 if you are the winner in a Toyota Series or a Tackle Warehouse event. And I'm doing everything on all of these programs, guys, based on a 250 horsepower motor. We're talking 20, 21 foot bass boats with 250s on them. There's differences. As you can see, kind of as your first place finisher, if you've got a 19 foot or a 20 foot boat with a 225 or a 200 on it. But when we are talking, top tier, the majority of the boats you see at the Toyota Series and up, right, are going to be a 20 or 21 foot with a 250 on it. Most new boats, in my opinion, that are bought, right, that are tournament anglers are buying that tier of boat. Not to say there's great opportunities below that or for older boats. So biggest thing to realize with the majority of these contingency programs, again, is the age of the boat. So when it comes to Phoenix, they're willing to go out 3 model years. So we're in 2023. For their highest payouts, they're willing to, you have to have a boat that's within 3 model years. So 2021, 2022, or a 2023 model Phoenix boat. Now, you do have options if you've got a boat that's older than that, or you are not the original owner. So that's a good point too. You have to be the original owner of these boats. This can't be a bought from a friend. It can't be a pro deal where you're borrowing a boat from a dealership for a year kind of a thing. The ownership has to be in your name. And that kind of is a big deal, right? Like I'm someone who likes to buy something maybe that's right off the dealer lot, someone who used a boat for a year or two, that kind of a thing. But it has to be an original owner. So that is number one. Has to be an original owner, 2021, 2022, or 2023. And we'll get into kind of the stuff that's after that. But in a Toyota Series, Tackle Warehouse Invitational, $35,000. In a BFL, it's $7,000, which is awesome. Now, what I really like about this program over this last year, and I believe this is a change, but I don't remember seeing this previously. If you're the highest finisher in a Phoenix MLS bonus member, if you're the highest finisher and in this, again, $20 membership, you meet all the criteria, stuff on your jersey, your boat still has its decals. There's a list I'm going to let you go through, but $1,000 to the highest finisher. If the winner of the event, say it's a Triton that wins the event, right? Phoenix still will pay $1,000 to the highest finisher that is in this program. So kind of a cool situation. You don't have to necessarily win to still get paid. Same with the BFLs, $7,000 if you are in a within 3-year-old Phoenix. So off of a $250 entry fee, the BFL to win an extra $7,000 if you're running a Phoenix, like makes a lot of sense to run a Phoenix within the first 3 years if that's what you're wanting to run. Additionally to that, same deal, $500 to a winner who, if the winner was not in a Phoenix bass boat. So cool situation for a payout down the line. Cool about the BFLs too, there's a $2,500 payout if you are not in a 2021, 2022, or 2023. So if you've got an older Phoenix, you still have that opportunity, BFLs, to make $2,500 off of a win. Another cool thing when it comes to everything here is if you go further down into the rules, they're willing to pay an additional, they're willing to pay, okay, hold up here. Where did I see this? Essentially, if you've got a boat that's older than those first 3 years, Phoenix is willing to break down and pay $1,000. Oh no, I'm sorry. So same concept that I was saying at the 2,500 on the Phoenix BFLs. If you are not in a new Phoenix, $1,000 to the highest finisher. Doesn't matter the owner, if you're the original owner or the model year of your boat. So that's someone like myself. I've got a 2018 Phoenix, and I have the ability to fish or to win still $1,000 if there is not a winner with a $35,000 bonus. So to me, a $20 for your season to have that opportunity in 3, hopefully 4 Toyota Series events this year that I'm fishing. The 4th would be the championship. Makes sense to be to take that bet for a chance at 1,000. As far as I can tell, on the Phoenix MLF bonus program, there is nothing that says you can't win more than once or there's a limit after reading the rules and guidelines. Now, if that's different, and with all of these contingency programs, right, they have to be able to change stuff. So if in every single one they all say some kind of statement like Phoenix has the right to change and modify this, right? So these boat companies are kind of protecting themselves, which is fine. But that is kind of a baseline when it comes to the Phoenix MLF bonus. Now, another interesting thing that Phoenix does is the first flight program. So again, like I said, these are different when it comes to programs, but what is cool is that it allows somebody who's fishing maybe other tournament series or fishing multiple tournament series, including the MLF, to still earn something on a Phoenix boat contingency wise. So let's look through their first flight program. Okay. So on the first flight program, as we can see here, this is a similar year model year stuff, right? So it has to be within 3 years, 2021 through 2023. Phoenix, again, we're going to go off of the numbers, all off of a 250 horsepower. In this case, it's $7,000 to the winner in this tier 1 eligibility. So tier 1 tournaments, at first, my first thought was, okay, these are going to be like Elite Series, maybe the Opens, the NPFLs. It's a lot more than that. So for anyone interested, you'll have to go to the Phoenix Boats First Flight Programs website. But there's a bunch in this. There's the NPFL. We've got one Bass Out West, and then a lot of regional trails. And they're just saying the tournament series has to have more than 60 boats in it. And if you win it and you're in a within 3-year model, you're going to win $7,000. If you're in a 2020 model, so 4 years old, still have a chance at $3,000. So cool program there for a bunch of tier tournament series. Now, what's cool too is they have a tier 2. Now, this is really localized events, right? And there's a bunch of these. I don't know how many there are on here, but gosh, there's got to be 100, 150 plus. This is any of these tournaments, you have to have at least a 30 boat minimum. So Bass Nation is on here, right? Bass College Regionals on here. There's walleye tournaments, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of local tournaments. See, to me, tournament organizations have the ability to reach out to Phoenix and add into this kind of stuff, right? So if your local tournament series isn't on contingency programs and you and a couple of guys fish certain boats, like after reading through some of these, I think it makes sense to reach out and get your trail added if you're having over 30 boats. And so any of tier 1 that doesn't have over 30 boats drops to tier 2 if it has under 30 boats. And so first place when it comes to the tier 2 eligibility is $500 in a 250. So really cool there. And give somebody the ability to win some stuff, even if you are not in Major League Fishing. So this is the Phoenix First Flight Program. And with that, it does cost some money. So the First Flight Program, instead of being $19.95 or $20, it is $49, basically $50 to run the First Flight Program. I would imagine if you are an avid tournament angler, you're going to be, and you fish multiple leagues and stuff, you're in a Phoenix, makes sense to be a part of both of these programs if you've got a boat that's within the 3-year time span. So cool program, cool 2 programs, I should say, when it comes to Phoenix. And I like how they did break that up based on their Major League Fishing stuff and not. So one other thing I wanted to check on here. So when it comes to tier 2 eligibility, basically it's saying tier 1 eligibility and payout automatically moves to tier 2 eligibility and payout if you are a Phoenix boat that is 2019 prior model year and or if you are not the original owner. So again, someone like myself, not the original owner, have 2018. If it's a tier 1 tournament, which is kind of a higher level regional event or the Elite Series or national trails, there's a couple national trails in here outside of Major League Fishing, right? You can still win some stuff in that tier 2. Now, someone like myself, I'd really have to think through how many of these that I really, really fish and that kind of a thing. And then when it comes to tier 2, oh, here's what's cool. Tier 2, there is no model year. So this is a big deal. On Phoenix Boats, if you fish any of these tournaments, which there's a ton of them, and you do not have a newer boat, you still, if with a 250, have the chance to make $500 on any of these tournament series that have over 30 boats in them. So really cool. Some way to kind of offset some of your tournament costs is to look at these opportunities, and any boat that you have, there's a chance that that stuff can play for you. Now, one thing that I noticed with all these contingency programs, when you get into the nitty gritty and you look at the rules, is that there are limits. So, like I said, with the Phoenix, we're calling it the MLF bonus program. There is no limit from what I read in the rules. When it comes to the official rules for the First Flight program, there is a limit. You can only claim 2 tournaments per calendar year per owner per boat, right? So how these programs work is you send in a form when you win. They may request details on, to make sure that you followed all the guidelines, having the Phoenix logo on a shirt or a jersey, all these different guidelines that they have. Those are all on their websites. But that is basically limited to 2 calendar events per year. So it's not like you can go and be in your local club that's signed up and there's 35 boats and you win a bunch of those events per year and you're kind of just raking in from that standpoint. So they have protections in some of these. So in this case, there is a limit on the Phoenix First Flight. There is not a limit, from what I can tell, on the Phoenix MLF bonus. And that basically sums up all of Phoenix Boats bonus programs. And what we will kind of do next is roll into some other ones, but just wanted to get that out there, really break down the Phoenix Boats one for those of you interested in comparing some of these. And again, like I said, we will do a wrap-up show comparing all of them. But that is it. That is the contingency program when it comes to Phoenix Boats. They've got that Major League Fishing top level, 35,000, BFLs at 7,000. Then they have the tier 1 and tier 2 of the Phoenix First Flight program. Wow. Good stuff from Phoenix Boats, a high quality program. I think it's going to be one of the top ones when it's all said and done, when we're comparing these. But there's some negatives there. Got to pay, got to make sure you're registered, that kind of a thing. But definitely something to look into if you are a Phoenix Boat owner. All right. So next week's show, we've got all kinds of stuff lined up, but I'm going to basically sprinkle these in between when it comes to these contingency programs comparing. But we do have a new partner on the Business from the Bass Boat Show and the Serious Angler network as a whole. But specifically on the Business from the Bass Boat Show, this is a new sponsor that is, I'm not going to tease it too much, but it'll be great, really great addition to what we're doing on Business from the Bass Boat, and kind of breaking down some of the analytical side of the fishing world, the numbers side of buying boats, all that kind of stuff. So that is who you have to look forward to coming up in future shows. But we've got a lot going on and excited for the future. So thanks, guys, for tuning in.